Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Cyril Jefferson calling to order the regular council meeting of High Point City Council, February 3rd, 2025. We've got every member of council here present with us, save for Councilmember Amanda Cook. We wish her well in her absence. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin our meeting officially, we'll move to adopt our agenda and ask if there's a motion to do so.
Motion to adopt?
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Holmes and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Moore. Any discussion on the motion to adopt our agenda? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and we have an agenda. First item on our agenda is a proclamation. And February 1st signifies the start of February, which is Black History Month. So I want to invite up Dr. Emma Harrison, President of the local branch of our NAACP, to receive this proclamation on behalf of the city. Whereas Black History Month was formally adopted in 1976 to honor and affirm the importance of Black history throughout our American experience. And whereas Black History Month is a time to recognize and celebrate the achievements, contributions, and rich cultural heritage of African Americans throughout history. Whereas the struggles and triumphs of Black individuals have played a vital role in shaping our nation's history, from the fight for civil rights and social justice to advancements in science, education, business, arts, and public service. And whereas Black History Month is also an opportunity to acknowledge the ongoing work needed to address racial disparities, and promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of society. And whereas we encourage all citizens to learn more about Black history, engage in meaningful conversations, participate in activities that honor the past, while building a more just and inclusive future. Now, therefore, I, Cyril Jefferson, Mayor of High Point, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim February 2025 as Black History Month in the city of High Point, and urge all of our residents to join in celebrating and recognizing the invaluable contributions of African Americans to our shared history and future. Welcome, folks, you want to come up? Thank y'all so much. Good to see y'all. I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up this evening. We've got quite the packed house. I know there are some folks asking if we had a concession stand, but we don't, unfortunately. So you'll have to bear with us. I do want to make a comment as a point of privilege, and we conferred as a council. I want to make sure everyone's aware. We did receive a proposal from High Point University in our committee meeting last month with regards to the Greenway. And from what I understand, in talking with residents throughout our city, in fact, I got stopped at the gym twice this morning, actually, about it, in the middle of my reps, by the way, but that's okay. That's what public service is. And there was a question where folks thought we were voting on the item tonight. And so we just do want to clarify for everyone to make sure that at this point, we received the request from High Point University, but we are still in the information gathering stage of things. There's so much information that goes into these kinds of deals before you could ever get to the point of even considering it for a vote. everything from easements and title rights and things of that nature. And so we wanted to make it clear because even on the elevator up, I spoke to some folks who thought that it was going to be a vote tonight, and I didn't want there to be any confusion. I was asked if there was a way that we could make sure the residents are aware as these things come about when we do choose to vote on it. And so I've asked our team to go ahead and put up on screen for you all that there is a way that you can all keep in touch with us. And if you want to bookmark this, highpointnc.gov /notify me is a way that you can go and choose what you subscribe to at the City of High Point. That will ensure that you can keep up with any information that we have. And as we have agendas that come out, items for discussion, public hearings, any other city business, you can make sure that you can be notified about it, so that way you won't be left in the dark. We also make sure to notice things within our local newspaper, the High Point Enterprise. Our social media puts those things out, and you can always call our customer service as well. So we wanted to make sure that everyone was aware and knew that there's a way to keep in touch and stay engaged with what we have going on here in the city, and to also clarify any confusion at this point with regards to what's on our agenda for tonight. To that end, and I think I do speak for every council member here, we do take it very seriously whenever we have to make decisions that are in the public's interest, such as this one. We've heard from quite a few folks in these past several weeks on both sides of it, letting us know how they feel about the Greenway issue. And I have to just tell you that personally, I appreciate the amount of civic engagement that has taken place with regards to this issue, and appreciate that you all are participating in your local government. I know that this city council cares very deeply about safety, and you all have made that concern known to us. We also believe that High Point University is an institution who cares very deeply about safety too, and so we'll be having conversations with them over these next several months. We also care about quality of life, and that's been a concern that we've heard from you all, and we're going to make sure over these next several months that whatever discussions we have about the item, that they will be transparent discussions, so that way you all can stay up to date with those. Our Prosperity, Livability, and Safety Committee has been where we're having those discussions. Those meetings take place on the first Thursday following our first council meeting of every month at 9 a.m. in the morning, chaired by Councilmember Peters. And so you can keep in touch with those discussions as they're ongoing, because there's so much information that we still have to figure out. Our attorney's office has been working very hard on it. Manager's office has been working very hard. But we just want to be clear, council won't have any discussion on it tonight, because we're at the point where we're still getting information about what this would even look like. Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and open up for our public comment period. If you've not done public comment period, I want to let you know that anyone who signed up to speak will be able to come forward to our podium. We ask that you state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address council. We ask that when you do speak, that you do address council, so that way we can hear your concerns. If a large number of people are present to register concerns about the same subject, it's suggested that you might be acknowledged as one unified group and have a representative that you designate to come up and speak on your behalf. This helps to avoid repetition while giving an opportunity for people present with the same concerns to be recognized. Also, we had 2 sign-up sheets out there. I apologize for anyone who came to speak on the agenda item with regards to the National Registered nomination for the Mendenhall House. If you didn't get to sign up for that, we'll make sure that you get a chance to speak on that, and we'll come to that point. But from what I see, everything I've got on this paper means we've got folks coming to speak about the Greenway. So with that said, we'll go in the order of what's listed. If you did not get to put your name down, we'll still allow time to speak if you so choose. First on our list is Christopher Ilderton.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Christopher Ilderton, and I reside from 701 South Main Street in the south side of High Point. And thanks for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. As a fourth-generation business operator in High Point, I feel compelled to voice my support for the New Path project proposed by High Point University and the ongoing Greenway project. My biggest hobby is walking and running, activities that not only keep me fit, but also allow me to enjoy the beauty of our city. The addition of this new path would not only enhance the scenic beauty of our community, but also open up more avenues for families to engage in healthy outdoor activities. High Point University isn't just any institution, it's High Point's university, deeply entwined with our community's fabric. This project reflects our shared commitment to enhance the quality of life for all residents. By expanding our greenway system, we are promoting health, safety, and community interaction. The path will serve as a vital link, encouraging more people to get out, explore, enjoy the park safely. It's an investment in our community's future, fostering an environment where families can be active together, away from the screens, and into the fresh air. I urge the City Council and all stakeholders to support this initiative. Let's continue to make High Point a model for how city can grow while keeping the heart focused on the well-being of its people. Sincerely, Christopher Ilderton. Thanks for letting me chat.
Thank you so much. Next on our list to speak is McKinnon Shea. Reverend Shea, if you're here, if you want to come forward, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Good evening. My name is McKinnon Shea. I live at 202 Hillcrest Drive. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm here in favor of rerouting the Greenway. I'm an avid Greenway user. I have run and walked every inch of it starting at Robinson Park, which is the closest access point to my house, and have even continued on as far north through the Bicentennial Greenway up to Mendenhall Oaks Road, I believe, that far north, or Gallimore Dairy Road, excuse me. It gets a little rocky up that way, and clearly my memory does as well. But it's a beautiful asset for our community, and I very much love the Greenway. That being said, High Point University is growing. And I'm here with the assumption tonight that, naively or not, everyone supports the success of High Point University in the same way that we would support the success of our hospitals, that we would support the success of our small businesses, and that we would support the continued success of any business that helps bring people to this region and create a solid economic environment. The university is growing, and our students need places to live. The university students need places to study. And this is an interesting opportunity where the university is able to build facilities for students to live and to study without needing to go beyond its existing footprint, without needing to wait for an opportunity where there may be another space to be able to build some of these facilities. So it's an opportunity to work together with the residents of High Point and to take an asset that currently exists that is safe, that is beautiful, that is well used, and continue to have it be safe and well used and beautiful, just in a different way. So I encourage the council members to think about this as a way of working together with a university where we continue to have an asset that means a whole lot to High Point that I will continue to use in a way that allows for the university to continue to grow and to serve its students well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on our list is Stephen Denny. Mr. Denny, if you'll come forward, you have 3 minutes to address council. After Mr. Denny, just in case you want to know, Bob Rowan, William Hayes, and then Mike Esposito, if you want to go ahead and line up that way, be ready to speak.
Thank you so much. My name is Stephen Denny. I live at 229 Edgedale Drive. Born and raised here in High Point. We moved away in 2008 and returned 15 years later, just a couple years ago in 2023. We're grateful for the tremendous work of the city leaders and the HPU leaders to improve not just the university, but the entire city of High Point. Absolutely remarkable improvements. And we purposely moved right off of Main Street so that we are close to all of the city improvements in walking distance. And my wife and I live close enough that we frequently utilize the Greenway. We enjoy utilizing it for our long runs. And if you haven't noticed, I did take a little bit of a winter break, but I will be right back out there with this warm weather coming. As a lifetime educational administrator, we've served in North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, and Idaho. We love bragging on the growth of this city. It's amazing just how many people have heard about High Point from the impact of the university. And the university has garnered national and international recognition, as you know. In school leadership, we are always looking to be proactive in campus planning and safety. Obviously, HPU has gone to great lengths to ensure a safe and engaging campus, as well as a strong presence in the community. Beyond being an additional security preparation, the Greenway rerouting offers additional benefits to the university and the community. For the university, there's increased opportunity to further enhance the campus, which brings over 200,000 people to the High Point annually, carrying a wonderful economic impact, as you're aware, and it's great to have a city that wants to continue to support the university's improvements. For the community around campus, there is considerable pedestrian traffic. This rerouting allows safer passage for everyone around the Centennial, Lexington, and University block. As someone that frequently runs the Greenway, this adjustment is minor as it benefits so many people in some way. So thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Greenway adjustment, and thank you all for your efforts to make High Point a wonderful place to call home.
Thank you so much. Next on our list is Bob Rowan.
Good evening. My name is Bob Rowan. I live at 1315 Overland Drive, High Point. I've lived here 40-plus years. Thanks to High Point University for all the good they've done for High Point and the citizens. However, we're talking about a greenway, not concrete roadway. I walked the new proposed route. You're basically walking next to traffic from McGuinn Street all the way to Lexington, down Centennial. There's a lot of hills on that. I'm a cyclist mostly, and I'm used to hills, but this is stuff. I wear a heart monitor for personal reasons, and I just checked, and on the regular Greenway, my maximum heart rate's 112. On the proposed Greenway, it was 140. So that right there is going to kick a lot of people off the Greenway because they just can't. I was gasping at the end of it. So I've ridden thousands of miles on it. It's something special, especially this portion they want to close. And for High Point, it's a sales tool if you're trying to bring people to town. You take them to Oak Hollow Golf Course with the Pete Dye thing. You take them to the Greenway right there at downtown. You don't take them up Centennial Street and Lexington and University, because it's an eyesore. It's just business through town. It's just not what we need to be doing. When you walk, say you start down at the school and go up Centennial and you get to the corner at Lexington, you have 2 gas stations, a grocery store, and a vacant mall. Now this is really Greenway, what you're looking for. It's not. It's urban, it's just neighborhood urban stuff. The Greenway, and I've ridden all the Greenways around here. I've ridden 2 Greensboro and back. I've ridden 500 miles up in Virginia at a time. And it's a special thing. And to pretend that you are going to improve or equal it is impossible. It is totally impossible. I've got video in the council, and don't answer it, but how many of you have used the Greenway, especially the portion through High Point University? And how many of you have used the new route to see what it's like? And if you do that, I know what your choice will be, regardless of how much we love High Point University. But they need to have some money in this too, because you're asking the citizens of High Point to tear up something that those of us who use it love it. And we need to consider that not High Point University, consider you, the voters of High Point, and what they are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see Mr. Hayes coming forward. After Mr. Hayes, we'll have Mike Esposito, Melody Burnett, and Diane Rowan.
My name is William Hayes, 1106 Edinburgh Drive, Jamestown, North Carolina. I played in the NFL 11 years. I'm currently permanently disabled, so I do utilize the Greenway. And I was sitting over here, and it kind of sucked because I was up there and I was listening to my guy just talk. And the reality of it is, I completely understand where you're coming from, but I'm looking at it too in from a student body standpoint. Closing off the Greenway gives safety to High Point University, the student body, but it also protects our city too, how I look at it. And I feel that once you close it off, anything that happened on that campus, that's on the university. It ain't on the city no more. It's now because there's really no patrolling on the Greenway in that area. But I truly do. I do understand y'all concerns, and I do. But I do feel like we should give High Point University a chance to present something first, to see if it's up to the liking, and then from that point make a choice. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at it from a student body's. I went to college not too long ago, and I went to Winston State. And I talk about this because I know how it is having an open campus. Things happen, and if you can prevent them from happening, I think we should. Because it's not an issue until it is an issue. But I do agree with what the guy was just up here. If I feel like let's give High Point University a chance first, just to see what they present, and if and then at that point in time, we should make a decision.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Next on our list is Mike Esposito. After Mike, we'll have Melody Burnett and then Diane Rowan.
My name is Mike Esposito. I live on 1012 Holton Place, right by Krispy Kreme there. I am an avid user of the Greenway as well. I cycle quite a bit, run quite a bit. I really appreciate what the city has done over the years with the extension out, in particular on New River, not New River, but Deep River, and it's been excellent for the community. I'm here in support, though, of the rerouting. I think in hearing one of the concerns here, my understanding is that the university is going to put forward a significant investment to make this greenway an urban greenway that we all can be proud of. It will not be a sidewalk around those streets. It'll be much closer inward, if you would. It will be accessible at all time. It will not be closed. It also will be safe. And I think that, with university growth and the positive economic impact and the emotional positivity that the university's brought, that this is a very small trade-off. And the Greenway will be something we can all be very proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Melody Burnett. After Melody, we'll have Diane Rowan and then Melvin Reese. Please come and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Good evening, Melody Burnett. My business is at 515 West English Road. I want to speak tonight in favor of the proposed Greenway route around HPU campus. High Point University is an economic engine for our city, having invested over $3 billion in academics and student life facilities and scholarships and technology. They attract over 150,000 visitors to our city each year, supporting 8,000 students and faculty, giving High Point branding, power, and energy that sets us apart from just being a bedroom community. Years ago, we made that choice. We would not settle for maintaining the status quo. That decision includes strengthening our town and gown relationship to foster continued growth and innovation in High Point. If we're going to develop an urban greenway that connects all parts of our city, we must be strategic about the placement, ensuring that it enhances accessibility while respecting the needs of our institution and our businesses. Some portions simply cannot be cut through privately owned developments. HPU is proposing a reroute approximately 4,800 feet around the perimeter of the campus. As someone who is regularly attending HPU community events like the Veterans Breakfast and Thanksgiving lunch, Christmas, MLK breakfast, and prayer breakfast, I've personally experienced the pedestrian environment. Each time I've crossed the street or walked to campus, I've never felt unsafe, even during high traffic times. In fact, HPU plans to add a 10-foot wide pathway with the landscape pedestrian buffer and ornamental grasses and shrubs that will enhance the safety, the aesthetics, and the overall user experience. HPU has consistently maintained an exceptional campus environment where there is no doubt that this Greenway route will reflect that same high standard. Moreover, HPU is not only funding the design and the construction of the new route, but also maintains the current Greenway per the agreement with the city, all while ensuring seamless transitions that keep the trail accessible to the public throughout the process. HPU plans to prioritize both the campus growth and campus accessibility, ensuring that the reroute enhances safety, aesthetics, and usability for all Greenway users. This is a fair and balanced approach that benefits both the university and the greater High Point community. As a city, we should support the economic engine so it can maximize its property for future growth and continue to be recognized as the best-run school in the nation, a distinction that brings prestige and economic vitality to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rowan, you come forward. After Ms. Rowan, we'll have Melvin Reese, Sam Carr, and the last name, I think, is Murga or Munga. Forgive me if I messed that up.
My name is Diane Rowan, and I first want to thank the council for the proclamation of Black History Month. I'm really proud right now to be a citizen of this town and a citizen that is going to recognize DEI in our community. I had to say that first. Secondly, I do speak to you tonight in opposition to the change to the Greenway. The last speaker mentioned an urban greenway. We are not addressing an urban greenway. We don't have an urban greenway, and I don't think we want an urban greenway. This is not to degrade High Point University or to not thank them for what they have done for our community. But they have 5,000 students sitting on 520 acres. UNCG, which I'm sure is a great economic engine for the Greensboro, has 20,000 students, and they sit on 200 acres. There is space. We do not need to take the Greenway space. UNCG is completely open to Greensboro. Some of you went to Carolina or to Duke. Those universities are completely open to their communities. Main roads run through those universities. They're not fenced. They're safe. Their students are safe. I'm sure a prestigious university like Duke would not risk the safety of their students. But I can go down there today and I can access the major roads and I can drive anywhere on their campus. I can't do that at High Point University. If we want students to be able to access their classrooms, surely they can walk, or we can take down the fence that's on the Greenway and they can easily access campus without a bit of problem. All the students there don't really have to live in townhouses. We can build a high-rise dorm. We can get more students to live off campus and build a parking deck like UNCG has done. We are not asking for High Point University to stop growing, but I'm telling you, with 5,000 students on that over 500 acres of campus, they have room to do this without taking a Greenway, and you can see all these people here. Some of the people who first spoke, they're young. Maybe they can walk that extra space. My husband rides that Greenway because he used to ride the roads of High Point, and he was hit on his bicycle by a teenage driver from behind. He can't ride on that new trail. He can't take the grade of that new trail. There's people here with canes. They can't walk an urban Greenway. We need to keep our Greenway safe and still recognize that High Point University is an economic driver for High Point and that we appreciate its place in our community. Thank you for your time.
Next on our list is Melvin Reese. If not, then we'll go ahead.
My name is Melvin Reese, Mayor, City Councilman. I've been a resident of this city since 1950, paying my taxes to support it, but I am in favor of the Greenway. It seems to me like this city council and the past city councils, that every time that Nito Cobain and High Point University want something, you bend over backwards to do that for them. I can't see getting rid of this section of the Greenway here. And by the way, you built a bridge over the city lake to commute from one side to the other. So why do you want to do away with this Greenway here? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. We got Sam Carr. After that, we'll have Mr. Murga, Eileen Roberts, and John Conrad.
Thank you, Sam Carr, 108 Monell Drive. Thank you, council, for allowing me the opportunity to speak, and everybody else in this room the opportunity to speak as well. While I am a staff member at High Point University, I'm first and foremost a lifelong resident of High Point, as well as an alum. Last summer, while giving a tour to a group of middle school and high school students from a local summer camp here in High Point, I witnessed something that left a lasting impact on me. In the middle of my tour, a middle-aged man suddenly jumped the fence from the Greenway and entered campus. In that moment, the safety of not only our university, but more importantly, the young guests visiting was at risk. After calling campus police, who responded swiftly and handled the situation, a young high schooler turned to me and asked, "How often does that happen?" My answer, "This should never happen." Immediately, I began to wonder what the intended purpose was for the individual who jumped the fence. Oftentimes, we do not realize that this impact is not just on HBU students, but that day it was young middle school and high school students. This is not just about HBU, but about High Point. It is not just about whether HBU has the ability to respond to such situations. It is about whether we, as a community, are creating an environment where students feel safe to learn, grow, and build their futures. These students are more than just temporary residents. They shop in our stores, dine in our restaurants, serve in our schools, vote in our elections, and call this city home for 10 months out of the year. If we are committed to caring for all students of High Point, then why should HBU students be excluded from that promise? The Greenway is valuable. There's no doubt about that. But let's be honest. For some, it has not been used as a Greenway, but as an unauthorized entryway to campus. It is our responsibility as a community to ensure that students feel secure in the place they have chosen to call home. But when we protect them, we are not just protecting HBU, we are protecting the future of High Point itself. I appreciate your time and commitment to this issue. Thank you.
First of all, I want to apologize for everybody. I'm not going to be talking about the Greenway Path. Apologize about that. I had no idea, but I couldn't change my trib. Stick around. It's very passionate people here, so. Anyway, my name is Juan Murga. I'm here with the company, a nonprofit. It's called Be Incorporated. And thank you, dear council, members of the city. I wish all members of the City Council a successful year in all its initiatives that provide benefit to all. I'm here to bring attention to a pressing issue in our community, the lack of a dedicated initiative to address organic and food waste collection. As you may know, organic waste that reaches our landfills generates methane gas, a harmful greenhouse gas that significantly contributes to climate change. With the impacts of rising temperatures already affecting our planet, it is crucial for us to take proactive measures as a community in cooperation with our cities to mitigate these effects for the benefit of human sustainability, animals, planet, and planet Earth, and as an example to future generations of a unified commitment to positive change. To address this issue, I have developed an initiative called Zero M, designed to control organic waste at its source and prevent it from reaching the landfills. Zero M proposes an effective method of transforming organic waste
into a hydrated material through a process of heating and rotation at varying temperatures at the source. This process eliminates harmful organisms while preserving beneficial ones, resulting in a product that can be safely and effectively used as compost. Currently, many businesses and homeowners face significant challenges in properly handling and disposing of organic waste. Existing systems are often difficult to navigate, measure, or control, which discourages proper waste management. As our community continues to grow, these challenges will only intensify, leading to increased waste and higher costs for waste management and solutions in the future. By implementing an initiative like Zero M, our community can reduce the volume of organic waste reaching our landfills, lower methane emissions and their contribution to climate change, encourage sustainable waste management practices among residents and businesses, create a valuable compost product that can support local agriculture and gardening efforts. I urge the City Council to prioritize the issue of organic waste management and consider supporting initiatives like Zero M to foster a more sustainable future for our community. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss this proposal further and provide additional details about Zero M system to any staff member of the City of High Point. What we seek is cooperation to implement the pilot project, not fund it. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to your response and to working together to address this important issue. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
And good luck to all of you.
Next, we'll have Eileen Roberts, then John Conrad, and Sarah Ballard.
I am Eileen Roberts, and I live at 829 Circle Drive. I've been a long-time resident here, almost 50 years. And I'm here to oppose strongly the closing of this greenway and the rerouting that has been proposed, even though we don't have the final plan. Each part of the High Point Greenway is distinctive, so the sum of its total pathways allows users to experience diversity. The section we are addressing is a shared use path defined as a paved path fully separated from motorized vehicles along a stream corridor, very different from what's been proposed. It is an oasis in the midst of a vibrant university. It promotes connection and goodwill, and I think we want goodwill between the public and this university, and sometimes I do not think that exists. High Point University is a major part of the city, so this section of Greenway gives users a peek at what is happening in this dynamic place. Very rarely do we have that peek. It shows partnership between the city and the university. The High Point Greenway Master Plan was adopted by the City Council in 2021. It speaks of greenways as having significant impact on the local community by improving the quality of life for residents, and these are residents with all kinds of physical issues, older residents, younger residents, the whole gamut, and attracting people and business to the city. I've encountered out-of-town visitors and furniture market attendees walking this section of Greenway, and I see diverse groups, as I've mentioned, of local citizens and the students regularly using it, the track students. The Greenway implements High Point's strategic plan. The proposed new route would not have these same impacts, I firmly feel. It would be used less by few people because it would have poorer accessibility and quality. In its proposal, HPU representatives have given reasons for needing this section of Greenway, but I don't think they all hold up to scrutiny. HPU wants to expand its housing, but it cannot expand on the Greenway itself since that's a floodplain. HPU wants to remove single-family housing and replace it with different types of student housing, but this can still be done. It can still be done around the Greenway, which it already has been doing. It states it has a need for intermodal transportation pathways. That's what that proposal says. But current student movement, I've observed flowing easily. They're walking short distances on the Alumni Avenue to Panther Drive, and then they travel to the main campus.
Thank
And
you, Ms.
even-
Roberts. Sorry, that's our time. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have John Conrad. Then after John, if you want to go ahead and come up behind John, it will be Sarah Ballard, Jamie Blankenship, and Chris, I believe the name is Thomasil.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is John Conrad. I live at 4136 Coachman's Court here in High Point. I've got 3 or 4 points just to make. I'm speaking on behalf of, in favor of the rerouting. I've never seen a project completed by High Point University that has been anything less than a top-notch job, leaving the area better than it was before, especially when it includes plant growth, specifically trees, shrubs, the width of walkways, et cetera. They've done a marvelous job with that. They've done a marvelous job working in collaboration with the city on Cobain Avenue, among other things. I've been involved in a number of boards of various committees in the city having to do with growth, and had occasion to give a lot of people tours of the city. And they find that, obviously, the university blows their mind. Second thing they find is they can't believe how beautiful the campus grounds are. And knowing that they've maintained the existing greenway already, that says a lot. To name a couple of greenways that folks may know, near our area, both Greensboro and Greenville, South Carolina greenways have sections that run along city streets and cross a few without major incident. I just wanted to mention those facts, put those things in the record, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Conrad. Next, we'll have Sarah Ballard, then Jamie Blankenship, and Chris Thomasil.
Thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak. My name is Sarah Bullard. I am here to voice my opposition to the Greenway. I use it 3 or 4 times a week, and I'm sorry that High Point University adults, students, don't feel safe. They have fenced themselves in, as was mentioned before in other universities. It's not very welcoming to the citizenry for the rest of us. Somebody mentioned seeing how beautiful the campus is. I can't do that. And in walking along, even after it was fenced in, it was a dangerous thing. But the city let them do it. There's a section in there that if you were to be assaulted, which seems to be a concern of some people here for their students, or you have a heart attack, the ambulance can't get to you because it has to go all the way down one end to come back up. We walked down there one day, there's a gas leak. It took forever for the gas company to figure out how to get down to the leak. So and we settled for that. Just like we've had to settle for a lot of land grab, it seems like. We do appreciate High Point. We appreciate what their students bring economically to us, but they don't feel part of High Point community to me. And I guess also information on what Nito Quabain wants does seem to go through, and the information to the public is not easy to find. I didn't know about this until I was walking in the neighborhood and somebody told me. I go to YouTube video, the first 3 minutes of that is cut out. There's no audio. What was said then? We've given HPU a lot. And I'm sorry that maybe that Ward 1 and Ward 2, they don't like the appearance of that. But I don't feel safe walking on the sidewalks of busy roads. And I'm also curious about what happens if HBU doesn't come in under budget? Who picks that up? Are it the citizens of High Point? We never knew the outcome of the Montlou Road. Did he come in under budget there? I'm just saying, it feels real top secret. Nita Quabang, High Point U, as opposed to the citizens. We're not inappreciative. We
Ms.
appreciate
Bullard,
the council.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
After Ms. Blankenship, we'll have Chris Thomasville, then Jordan Green, then Barry Kitley.
Hi, I'm Jamie Blankenship. I reside at 1200 Lancaster Place, High Point. I'm here to address the council, and I appreciate the opportunity to express a very big concern in opposition to the Greenway expansion by High Point University. Eileen Roberts, who was just up here and used up all of her time, has given me permission to finish her statement before she was cut off by the timer. So I continue in Eileen's words. I have seen students safely walking short distances on protected sidewalks along Alumni Avenue to Panther Drive, where they travel to the main campus. If High Point U takes this land, students would have to find their way across the creek. High Point U says there will be less, sorry, I have a cold. High Point U says there will be less security need with the bordering fence around this section taken down, but security will still be needed for the students. And High Point U will still need security to monitor that large fence around the new walkway it proposes. I wonder, could High Point University's real reason simply be it doesn't want the public walking through? You, the city council that I've supported and campaigned for, are tasked with deciding if this university proposal is in the best interest of High Point. Greenway users strongly do not think so. This current Greenway section has usability, beauty, community connection, insert birds, and local economic impact. It should remain open. End of her statement. I'd like now to take this point of privilege to ask and address the room. Not everybody is going to speak that is opposed to the Greenway, but whether you have signed up to speak or not, but you are here to oppose the High Point University Greenway expansion, if you would please raise your hand or stand if you are in opposition. I do believe we have a majority. Thank you very much.
Well, it seems, my name's Chris Tomasic. I live at 1202 Lancaster Place, and I want to thank Greg of Transportation. I just completed a petition to get the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs there, and then I had to go door to door and meet people. My wife and I moved here almost 2 years ago, and as I walk around this city for exercise, one thing that comes to my mind as I'm walking around, and I'm on the ECU Alumni Board of Directors, and I work with the University of Advancement of East Carolina, is that we talk about community and what the university and the community does together. The conundrum here, as I'm hearing, is that it's either or. And that's where you guys are sitting in the hot seats, that you've got to figure out either or. I can say this, like I said, I'm new here. My wife and I, we've got my son and daughter-in-law in this town. We got our son and daughter-in-law and future grandchild in Troutman, and our other son, Durham. So we're kind of triangulating, and I like this place. But it amazes me when I walk the city from my Lancaster, across 68, through the neighborhoods, up around, that when I get close to High Point, as Robert Frost said, and I'm going to use it in the negative sense of what it meant, fences do make good neighbors, but it's an oddity that I walk around a university that has no access except through armed guard. And I keep hearing this thing, well, we got to keep students safe. Well, I was administrator of a high school, over 2,000 kids, over 200 teachers, 2 SROs, 3 off-duty. And we still allowed our campus to be accessed. We had a rubberized track. So there is a way to meet it. At East Carolina, we have the blue lights. You could have blue lights stationed along the way if that helps. But the big picture of it is that how do we maintain a positive relationship between the community opposing the Greenway and High Point U? I'll leave you to think about this. As High Point U demands more and receives more, what happens to the community who's not a, what do they begin to do? Reflect. Mike Nifong took a case that divided the community in Durham, and it still hasn't recuperated, where the citizens in Durham saw these Duke students as one thing and then the other. I don't want to get to the point in High Point where it's us versus them. So it's up to you in your leadership positions to figure out how to make this work. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Jordan Green. I live at 301 Woodrow Avenue, right next to Armstrong Park, the trailhead of our Greenway. I am here to oppose the closure of the Greenway. I emailed you all a long explanation. I've spoken to a number of our council members about our opposition. I will not rehash all that. I'll be very quick. You're going to hear a lot of great points made by a lot of speakers. I'm not going to rehash all those either. But I would encourage you all, like others have, take your spouse, take your children, take your dog, take your friends, and walk the proposed route. Walk next to the busy 4-lane, 5-lane intersection at College Village and the BP station. Walk next to the 18-wheelers that go blowing by you. Slog up that big hill to the arena and then make a right turn onto University and walk next to all those cars. And when you do, please be careful, because there are side streets and driveways. There's 2 side streets, 1 gigantic intersection, and 3 driveway entranceways onto campus that you have to navigate. You'll have to stop at every one of those. Hold your children close, hold your dogs close, because you need to stop at each of those. There'll be 5 places on the proposed route that you have to stop and make sure that cross traffic isn't going to hit you. On the current Greenway, there's 0. Be careful when you walk that route, but do walk it. Try it out. Show it to your friends. Bring your spouse, bring your kids. Try it all out and see if it really is what we've been told it's going to be. For all those reasons, all the reasons that you're going to hear, and so many more, we oppose this. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have Barry Kitley. After Barry Kitley, if you want to go ahead and line up, we'll have Karen Perry, Caitlin Black, and then Attorney Tom Terrell.
Barry Kitley, 4114 Ponce Leon Drive, High Point, North Carolina. Thank you for this opportunity to voice my support for High Point University's proposed Greenway adjustment around campus. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in many projects that have advanced the city forward, like the baseball stadium and the Children's Museum. Our council has made tough decisions in the past that pushed our city forward. I'm thinking Furniture Market, the construction of a transportation terminal, the ballpark, and High Point University has partnered on a lot of these projects, many initiatives, to include the ballpark and the Children's Museum, police and fire departments. One such initiative was 11 years ago, involved Montlou. With that strategic decision of City Council, the university was able to develop a school of dental medicine, law school, school of entrepreneurship, health sciences, and pharmacy. Closing Montlou led to compounded growth on this campus while providing the community with physician's assistants, community clinic volunteers, entrepreneurs, and graduate students that support our local economy. Adjusting the Greenway around campus is in concert with urban environments, which are paved paths, wider than normal with enhanced landscaping that connect people to destinations. HPU's proposal does this. It is not taking the Greenway away. It's rerouting 2,300 feet of a 5-mile section that connects High Point and Greensboro for the safety and campus growth of High Point University. Further, our plan takes the restrictions of closing at sunset away from the city's greenway system. The adjustment around campus will involve ADA compliance, enhanced landscaping, and a new trailhead. Further, this reroute will address the current sidewalks that now abut Centennial, Lexington, and University Parkway that are all on the backs of the curb. This will pull these walkways up and off the current curbs, not using the existing sidewalks that are there now. But the plan provides a 10-foot path, which means moving university walls to accommodate. I've spoken with the current chair of Business High Point, who supports this initiative and believes it is complementary to the legislative agenda that's put forth to council regarding the potential Lexington Avenue enhanced street plan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barry. Karen Perry, Caitlin Black, and then Tom Terrell.
Hi, I'm Karen Perry. I live at 600 Huntington Drive. I want to tell you a story. I have 2 grandchildren. They are girls. One is 5, one is almost 3. They love to play with lifesavers. We have had, packs of lifesavers around in the winter since it's been kind of cough season. They're playing with lifesavers, sorting them into colors, making piles, doing trades. The oldest one is complaining, Grammy, she won't trade with me. And when I investigate, she wants to trade for 2 green ones. They're the only 2 green ones left. The youngest child does not want to trade. These are her favorites. She wants to keep them. The oldest decides to offer her as many as 5 lifesavers to see if she will trade those 2 green ones, and she will not trade. I kind of think that story is a picture of what we have going on here. We have the city with a close relationship with High Point University, kind of like siblings. But we don't need to be letting that sibling relationship turn into overbearing, maybe even bullying. And that's kind of what this seems like. We have a good greenway. It meets all those wonderful standards that they tried to set it up with in the 80s and 90s. And it is a very well-used place and well-loved, as you can tell from this audience. Please do not make the deal.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Black, and I currently reside at 819 Ferris Avenue. First of all, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come and speak with you today, and thank you for all the work that you put in and day out into the High Point community. Again, my name is Caitlin Black, and I'm currently a senior at High Point University, pursuing a double major in computer science and dance. I was born and raised a resident of High Point and have always felt the positive impact that High Point University has on the city by attending its various community events. I have been blessed to attend High Point University and live on campus all 4 years. As I said, I currently live on Alumni Avenue, which is directly facing where the High Point Greenway crosses campus. As someone who runs on this beautiful greenway and a High Point University student that can see the greenway from my front door, I would like to voice my support for the proposed rerouting of the High Point Greenway around the campus of High Point University. As I was training for a half marathon a few short months ago, I was running on the greenway with a good friend of mine, as I make sure to never run alone. Shortly after we began running, we noticed a strong police presence on the greenway. Vehicles and officers, people being questioned. I politely and very worriedly asked the officer if it was safe to be on the greenway, and he responded that they were looking for a juvenile who was breaking into cars. I couldn't help but think about the close proximity my own front door was to where we were, and how this criminal could easily hop the fence and be at my front door and with my peers. Rerouting the Greenway would eliminate this safety concern and reduce the liability of these unauthorized people gaining access to campus. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, we'll have Tom Terrell, then we'll have Matt Stafford, then we'll have Don Webb.
Thank you. I'm Tom Terrell, 529 West Parkway Avenue, and a lifelong resident of this city. I am opposed to rerouting, but I don't know what I'm here opposed to, because if there's anything on the city's website, after an hour and a half search, I cannot find it. It is secretive. I want to find the details, and except for a YouTube video of what was presented to a university community, the university has not shown the respect to the citizens in this room to put its detailed plans out. Now, I have appeared in this chamber at least 150 times over 40 years, and I always communicate to neighbors, because my clients are developers. They get letters, they get site plans, and they have information. It is a misleading and it is a false narrative that the Greenway has to be rerouted for the university to grow. The Greenway is in a floodplain. You cannot build a building on it. You cannot build a building anywhere near it. You are prohibited by law. I have walked thousands of miles and cheered over the decades as a Greenway user. I've cheered when we built it. I cheered when we extended it. I cheered when we nourished it. It is a quiet place. It is High Point's best public park. It is under large and mature trees. It's beside a peaceful stream, and I don't care how many benches and bushes you put on it, there is no way that a sidewalk that goes down Centennial and Lexington is equal or better unless you're a university employee who's been asked to come here to support that. Mr. Stafford, if you want to come on forward, you can address council from the podium. Then after Mr. Stafford, we'll have Don Webb, Cameron Marsden, and Dr. Hairston.
Can someone assist me with Lori's thing, please? That should be good. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm Matthew Stafford. I live at 120 James Road, Apartment 1D. I'm here as a member of the Yes in My Backyard movement. As we all know, we have a housing crisis in this country. And one of the big factors in that crisis is that we're not building enough housing. We haven't been building enough housing for decades. And one reason this has happened is because anytime a new housing development is proposed, anyone can come and object to it for any reason, be it aesthetics, it may or may not lower their property values, even some rather sketchier objections that are relevant in Black History Month. I'll just leave it at that. I think we need to end this objection, end these objections, and rein in our zoning board. Only 3 things should be eligible for objection: whether or not the land was obtained illegally, whether or not the housing is safe, and whether or not the developer has a track record of making safe housing. If the objections aren't rooted in any of those 3 things, they should not be allowed, and the housing should be approved so we can get some housing in this community. Because anytime there's more building, there's less homelessness, there's lower rents. We see this in Minneapolis, we see it in Austin. Yes, in my backyard works. No, in my backyard leads to homelessness and nonsense. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Stafford.
Good evening. I'm Don Webb, 2209 Timberlake Avenue, Ward 5, I believe, maybe Ward 6. It's changed a few times. I'm like most people here. I'm very resistant to change, just in general. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that we've lived at Timberlake there for 38 years, raised our family there. And my wife and I have been married 50 years. Just don't like change a lot. But I am serious about that. I think this process is very, very helpful, and I know that you have a difficult job on council dealing with matters like this. I think you've done a fine job over the years in approving, listening to the request made by High Point University and by the citizens of High Point about the changes that have occurred. I think in this case, it's been characterized earlier this evening that this is a either-or option that the council has to deal with. I would suggest that not all change is either-or. There are situations where negotiations can yield a win-win situation. I don't know what that looks like, but I have seen some of the plans that have been proposed. I'm sure those plans are not as they were originally proposed, that the zoning board has probably already impacted that by discussion. Some of the discussion here tonight may be helpful as well. I'd like to also suggest something that I've not seen in the plans that could be beneficial to all citizens would be if this is adopted in some form, I think it'd be good to also request on the city's part that additional parking be added for access to the Greenway, very close to High Point University. I think High Point University probably has some land that's not being used on either side of either University or Centennial, and they may be able to put a parking lot in there, make it more accessible to more people. And I very much appreciate the difficulty that each of you has in continuing to deal with this situation. So once again, I'm thankful that everyone has come tonight and expressed their opinions. That's what we should have here in High Point. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Dr. Hairston, Tiffany Hairston, then Cameron Marsden. If y'all want to go ahead and line up, you can go ahead and line up so that way we can come to you.
Good evening, Madam City Manager, Mr. Mayor, and City Council. Many of you probably do not know that the High Point NAACP averted a student walkout at Central High School a couple years ago. You didn't hear about it because you wasn't supposed to. By virtue of the fact of that, we spent time at that school talking with those kids, making sure that they understood they could impact more inside than outside. And when we're getting ready to leave, the students said, well, will we see you all again? I said, you're gonna see us again. Out of that comes the Dream Big program. We now, starting with this month, have professionals go into Central High School and have them dream about being a doctor, a lawyer, a judge, a businessman. This month we have coming in Kevin Cooper, who is businessman extraordinaire from InfraPros. Many of you may know Kevin. InfraPros is an infrastructure, professional services, and equipment company. He's going to talk with those kids about careers in manufacturing, the type of equipment, career opportunities, education and earning potential, and even some internship programs. I think it's important to know, for you all to know, the City of High Point and the citizens of High Point, some of the work that's being done to make sure that our kids are getting what they need. The last program we did last year, we had over 100 students. It's not like they have to coerce the students to come. They know we're coming, and they come because they want to come. And if the City of High Point wants to offer some swag, we have a drawing. Many people in the community give us Chick-fil-A cards, all sorts of things to raffle off for the young people. So just wanted you to know that. I'll be tapping you all for some swag, And it's going to be the 26th of February is our kickoff. And we wanted you to know just how important it is that we shape the lives of our young people and having them to dream big about who they'd like to be and what kind of future they'd like to have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Hairston. I'm with the High Point NAACP Housing Committee. I am sharing some information that we will be having a housing fair that will align with our goals of helping attendees build generational wealth. This will parallel with our One High Point Commission policy-based reparations. The event is at no cost. It will be Thursday, February 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. at High Point YWCA. Some of who should attend? Anybody in the community can attend, but we do have a target market of people who are currently renting, that are looking for home ownership, single mothers, and families as well. Some of our objectives is to overcome the perceived barriers of home ownership, tips to navigate the market with lenders, deciphering what is actually generational wealth. We have a lot of professional resources that will be available. Some of the people that will be available, some will be Pinnacle Bank. We will have Truist. Also, we'll have First Citizens Bank. We'll have the City of High Point that will talk about some of their down payment assistance products. North Carolina Housing Finance Agency will be there as well. These lenders also have their own down payment assistance products, as well as they can offer to do the products for the City of High Point and North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. We will also have many nonprofits there that are HUD-approved counselors, because we have a lot of people in our community, attendees that will be there that will need help with credit issues. Financial literacy is one of the things that we are pushing, and they have a lot of classes that they will be offering for that as well. That is free if you live in High Point as well. We have a plethora of other people that will be there as well, credit repair specialists as well. We just also want to know that all these vendors play a specific role in the home buying process and are vital to the success of this housing fair as well. And also, we want to let everyone know that the High Point Community Foundation is undertaking an initiative to raise $40 million over the next few years for affordable housing. So our program is a springboard for educating our target market to be prepared for home ownership and some of these opportunities that may become available with this $40 million. While some of the attendees, like I said, may not be ready for home ownership, we do aim to get them prepared in the near future. So this is not just a one-stop event, that we are going to follow these attendees to make sure they get the things that they need to be able to take a part of these programs. This will be a collaborative effort, and considering the forthcoming of the High Point Community Foundation Initiative, I feel like this is a win-win for everybody involved in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. After Cameron Marsden, we'll have Dr. Fuller, if you want to come on over. Then we'll have Ken Cruz, and I believe this name is Terry Killebrew.
Hello, my name is Cameron Green Marsden, and I live at 818 Quaker Lane. And this is my first time speaking in front of council. So, I currently serve on the High Point Parks and Recreation Board, and I'm a High Point native of at least 8 generations. I currently live off Quaker Lane near the Quaker School. I didn't know you had to say that first part. And I'm here today to offer my perspective on the proposed changes to our Greenway by HPU. HPU is proposing to close down a section of the city's Greenway to include it in their campus while rerouting the Greenway along busy 4-lane city streets, at least. I don't think this is in the best interest of the citizens of High Point, only in the best interest of HPU. I'm generally pro-HPU, I promise. I have attended a number of lovely events on their campus, and my family and I enjoy their Christmas lights every season. HPU expanding is expected. It's my understanding that HPU chose to purchase property adjacent to the city's current Greenway a few years ago. Then they purchased more property on the other side of the Greenway. It doesn't make sense to me that because of their intentional purchasing decisions based on their desire for expansion, that High Point citizens should have this amenity taken away from us. As a mother to 2 small children, which I'm sure many of you heard and saw in here earlier, I have to speak out for their safety and interests. I'm not opposed to HPU and whatever they see as their best practices for their students, but I am opposed to this particular proposal. You, the City Council, have appointed me as a member of the High Point Parks and Recreation Committee. You presumably have faith in my reasoning and judgment. The hardworking Parks and Rec staff has informed me that they have looked at other options and these are the best ones. Unfortunately, these options are not currently acceptable. The mile of sidewalks are too narrow and certainly not green. Where should my little girls that you guys saw run and play and pick up sticks on Centennial? The Greenway was created to serve as a green space for your constituents to enjoy. That was the Greenway plan. This is especially important for our downtown residents. The proposed rerouting is just not a good resolution. I implore the City Council to side with its tax-paying constituents and let HPU deal with their decisions over this land, not us. If you vote in favor of HPU's request, mine and many High Point families will be forced to choose between no longer using this recreation area that our tax dollars created and maintained, or travel narrow sidewalks along heavily trafficked streets. If they were to come up with a safe alternative for my family, I would be willing to entertain that. Until then, please vote no to HPU's proposal to take this section of Greenway away from High Point residents like my girls. Thank you for your time and all that you do for our city.
Next, we'll have Ken Cruz. After Ken Cruz, we'll have Terry Killebrew and Sam Lassine.
Thank you. Ken and Shirley Cruz, 700 Sunset Drive. And I want to begin by acknowledging all the good things President Cobain has brought to High Point, and I appreciate those. I want to make that clear, but we're going to disagree on this one. We're frequent bike riders along the Greenway. I love riding out the full 11 miles and back, and a couple times I've actually made it twice. For context, I have a PE in civil engineering. I'm retired now. I have a master's degree in city planning. I've worked these projects. I understand the issues. But by definition, I have to say this is not a proposal to extend the Greenway. This is a sidewalk. Look up the definition. It is not usable by cyclists as it's currently designed. Let's just put that out on the table. There are 3 places where it says there's going to be zigzags. And I'm looking at the designs that were on the city website. A cyclist can't do that, particularly if there's anybody else in the path. That means there's at least 3 places where the cyclist has to get off and walk, all right? It also is dangerous because on Lexington, where they're proposing one, the obvious option for many cyclists to be unsafe is going to be jump off the path and try to ride up the street to get around it. Very dangerous. The written material says ADA compliant. It's not. Let's at least be honest. There are places with 8% grade, 5% grade, 7.5% grade, according to their own material. Those are not ADA compliant. They're tough for the casual cyclist. And they're difficult, as one gentleman mentioned earlier, for a walker who's not in good shape. And yet what we have now is nice and flat and smooth and pretty. The written material says there's 357,000 visitors. Great. But the parking's on the other side of Lexington, creating huge crowds that block the sidewalk. A bicyclist, even a walker, won't be able to get through if there's an event at High Point University. Quickly, let me mention a couple solution issues. They use the term intermodal transportation paths. I've designed them. I have no idea what they're talking about here. If they built the underpass too short, lengthen it. Seems fairly simple. They talk security. Yes, there have been incidents on the Greenway, but let me promise you there's incidents on Centennial and Lexington and University. The Greenway is safer. And they mention design flexibility. Any good architect would love to incorporate this. one final thought. This is Black History Month. This, in my opinion, is one of the most integrated places in High Point, the Greenway.
We have Terry Killebrew, Sam Lacine, then Matt, I believe it is Matt Poplin.
I'm Terry Killebrew. I'm a native of High Point, live at 412 Rock Spring Road. Growing up in High Point, I couldn't wait to get out of this city. It was the most boring place I ever thought possible. But after living away for about 10 years, I moved back and I found that I have really loved this city. I'm an avid cyclist, and in the 80s, I started riding all over town, mostly out of the city on the roads. And I joined the bicycle club here in town. This was the early 80s, and we got approached by the Greenway Task Force to talk about getting the Greenway established. They wanted to know what the cyclists in High Point wanted. And just like you're doing right here, we spent numerous hours painfully sitting in a chair and listening to things like this. And I would have rather been sitting outside riding a bicycle. But we worked hard. We went through. I have a couple of city High Point planning maps. Right here is footnotes. It's a newsletter of the Greenway. And Sid Linger was on that, a coordinator. Sue Swartz-Smotherman, who was with the city of High Point, was a co-coordinator. And Mindy Vernon was the Greenway chair. We worked really hard trying to find places and going along the floodplains that the Greenway would be a safe place to have it, and it wouldn't interfere with housing and all. I have to be honest, I haven't ridden on the Greenway that much or been on the Greenway that much in the past years. There's probably a handful of times. And I heard about this on Facebook, and I decided to come express my opinion. I'm against it. This is not a greenway. It's riding along a road, and if I wanted to ride along a road, I'd be out there. There's a movement of people wanting to buy the national parks. They want to take property and they want to develop it into taking oil, mineral rights, and things like that, and there's a movement against it, and their logo is Smokey the Bear, and it's resist. Zorba the Greek was once observing an old man who was planting a tree, and he laughed at him and said, "You won't get to see that tree live." And he replied back, "I live if I was never going to die." And I don't have children here in High Point or grandchildren, but I want the Greenway to be here for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sam Lacine, and I reside at Sturbridge Drive in High Point, and I'm speaking in opposition to relocating the Greenway. I've corresponded with members of the council. I've examined the engineering plans. I am a frequent user of the Greenway, both on foot and bicycle. The relocation that's proposed by the university is not going to be a benefit to the Greenway. It's been stated it would be equal to or better than what we have to relocate to 3 busy roads in High Point. I suggest the council members, as other speakers have suggested, that you walk the proposed new route and then go walk the route along the creek through the woods that runs through the university at the present time. You cannot believe that this would be equal to or better. We're not talking about an urban path, we're talking about the Greenway. and the relocation is certainly not green. I also suggest when you walk the new route that you look not only at the amount of traffic, and perhaps council has this information through staff, but these are busy roads. And one of the busy roads that the Greenway is now proposed to cross is Panther Drive, which is now a lighted intersection. I walked it this Saturday, which is not a busy day. The sports arena was not in use. There were 20 cars waiting at that light for traffic to exit Panther Drive. So if you're walking the Greenway or if you're riding your bike, you're going to dismount and wait for traffic. That is a step backwards. The university has expressed concerns with safety. We've heard several speakers talk about safety. The Greenway path, as it currently exists, has the typical university brick wall and the gold spikes on top on both sides of Ferris Avenue, so that you are fenced in. You cannot leave the Greenway. We've heard several speakers talk about some bad actors pole vaulting over the fence. I'm not sure how they did that. I'm 6'3", I don't think I can get over it, but let me ask you this. If we take the Greenway off the university, like the university is proposing, aren't the bad guys just going to jump the fence somewhere else?
Fine, thank you. Next, we'll have Matt Poplin, then Gaither Terrell, then Claire Wallace. If you'll go ahead and line up, and we'll hear you in that order. Again, if you're here with a group and you have a designated representative, feel free to send that representative to speak on behalf of your group. Thank you.
Good evening, council and fellow citizens and taxpayers. While I'm speaking, if you'd like to pass these along to look at these pictures. The pictures that I'm passing around, I've taken over the years on the Greenway with my children who are ages 9 and 10. They have learned to ride their bikes on the Greenway. They have graduated from training wheels to full-on 12-mile rides from Armstrong Park to Duck Donuts on 68. To say that we get our exercise in and also enjoy our sweets would probably be an understatement. My name's Matt. I'm at 115 Bridlewood Avenue. I'm a citizen of High Point, a taxpayer, a father, a triathlete, a member of the local running community, serve on a board for triathletes. And to say that physical activity and exercise is important to me would be a vast understatement. I live 4 miles from Armstrong Park. I frequently run or bike the Greenway, either as part of my triathlon training or to focus on my mental health. Most importantly, it's to spend time with my 2 sons. Sorry, I have anxiety for public speaking. They've both learned to ride without training wheels, ride long distances, gained their confidence on 2 wheels on the High Point Greenway. It's become one of our favorite things to do during the warmer months. Not having to cross multiple busy roads with 2 small children is one of the best things that the Greenway has to offer in the context of how everyone currently knows the Greenway. As I've stated already, my children have biked 10 and 12 plus miles with me, stopping along the way for donuts. The thought of not having these memories continue over what appears to be a university disguised as a real estate company it's heartbreaking. I cannot for the life of me understand why 520 acres is not enough. Safety. Creating multiple unsafe road crossing opportunities for the public is not in our best interest, and it is not the definition of a greenway. It's my firm belief that more will never be enough, and the potential closure of the greenway has solidified that for me, especially after seeing so many small homes and properties surrounding the university, which were opportunities for affordable housing for the community, be gobbled up. There's little inconvenience to the college currently, minimal criminal activity from what I've seen in all of my biking and running along the Greenway. The fences, in my opinion, are tall enough, but I just think enough is enough. I think you give, and there will never be an opportunity to not ask for more. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next, we'll hear from Gaither Terrell, then Claire Wallace and Kirby Hurd.
Hello, I'm Gaither Terrell. I live at 529 West Parkway Avenue in High Point. I just want to join with so many others here and say that I think the Greenway, and particularly this part of the Greenway, is one of the greatest treasures that High Point has. And I suppose, I know that there are other parts of the Greenway that are beautiful as well. And I love them as well, down at Piedmont Environmental Center and over the new parts. But this particular part is really special. And people have said you should go down the new route. And if you haven't gone down the old route, the current route, you need to do that too. It is just lush and green and peaceful. We have seen mallards there with their babies. What are they? Hedgehogs? Groundhogs. Sorry, I keep being corrected. Groundhogs and owls and hawks. They're probably trying to eat the owls. I don't know. But that's nature again, right? Lots of songbirds of every kind. It is a beautiful place, and it brings peace and serenity. And after all, by definition, a greenway is not a place to get from one place to another. At least that's not its primary intention. It is a place to escape from the busyness, the noisiness, the pollution, the frenetic pace of our everyday lives, and be enveloped in that serenity of nature. And as I say, there are other places further away from Central High Point where you can get that, but this is the one that is most accessible to the central part of High Point, which is where I live. It's 2 or 3 minutes from my house versus 12 or 15 minutes out to Piedmont Environmental Center. So it's a lovely place. I urge you to see the contrast yourselves. Also, I understand that you all are put in a difficult position and that there are two sides to this, and that the university has done a lot for us. But I think, as other people have said, we've done a lot for the university as well, and we still have our needs. It's your job, and it's a difficult one, to balance the needs or the wishes, I think, of the university versus the needs of the community. We love High Point University for the many things it's done. However, this Greenway is High Point's Greenway, not High Point University's Greenway. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Claire Wallace, Kirby Hurd, and then Brenda and Chester Hayworth.
Claire Walker. Sorry. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Claire Walker, and I live at 312 East Ferris Avenue. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today before you. I'm here to express my strong opposition to the proposal of removing the public access of the Greenway for the benefit of High Point University. First and foremost, this Greenway is an essential part of the community. It provides residents with a safe and welcoming space for recreation, walking, cycling, and connecting with nature. It is a place where families gather, children play, and neighbors meet each other. This connection to nature is one that is vital for the physical and mental well-being of our residents. And as an MS patient, multiple sclerosis, I really value this access. Particularly in today's fast-paced world, it is important to take time in nature that this Greenway offers us. Moreover, maintaining access to the Greenway is crucial for fostering a strong neighborhood connection. The Greenway allows residents to interact with each other, build friendships, and form a sense of community. removing access for a private walled-in university that will sever the important link and limit the opportunities for its residents to come together, support each other, and strengthen the bonds that hold our community in harmony. Additionally, the decision to prioritize the private institution over a public access of common space raises important questions about our values as a city. Are we willing to sacrifice the public good for the interest of High Point University? Our green spaces should be protected and cherished, not compromised. It is essential that we ensure an access to these resources for all residents, enhancing a community spirit rather than limiting it. Imagine the positive impact of keeping the Greenway open, promoting outdoor activities, encouraging community events, and facilitating social interactions that nourish our relationships with one another. I lost my spot. This space is not just for physical connectivity, it is about cultivating a sense of belonging. In conclusion, I implore, as I stand before you today, within my community, that removing this public access for High Point University, instead of focusing on ways to enhance and protect this cherished resource, that this decision will shape our community for years to come. Let's choose to prioritize the needs of our residents and safeguard the green spaces that are vital for our neighborhood and connections and quality of life here in High Point.
Thank you.
I ask this question: when will High Point University be satiated and no longer want to consume more and more of our neighborhoods?
Thank you.
Next, we have Kirby Hurd, Brenda and Chester Hayworth, and then Louis Thibodeau.
Thank you. I'm Kirby Hurd. I live on East Ferris in Ward 2. Mayor Jefferson and City Council, I would like to thank you, sorry, a little anxiety here, for continuing to recognize February's Black History Month in spite of our national leader choosing not to. I come before you tonight to express disappointment with the ongoing and seeming purchase of the city of High Point by HPU. Nito Cobain clearly has feelings that he isn't afraid to express because it was written in the newspaper that he, quote, that visitors to the university are shocked that the city doesn't care about the university's main road to Main Street, unquote. In addition to paying more than expected for the Montlou Avenue project, a plan was publicized to expand the Greenway in 2021, taking it across from Armstrong Park over to the ballpark and connecting to the Southwest Greenway, which I explored that Southwest Greenway today. It's in progress. Clearly, he has no vision for improving the south side of the city, including the corridor from US 2970 to his bubble, which he continually seems to want to enlarge. A nearly $20 million federal grant was awarded the city, and the city had to promise to invest $8 million in this greenway from Armstrong Park through downtown, past the ball stadium and the transport center, into the southwest High Point neighborhoods, promising to be walkable and safe, and including a new makeover of North Elm Street. I'd like to know where we are on that. I haven't found anything on the city yet. I have seen where we are in the Highland Mill regeneration, but I think that's just beginning. And this is, where's that 28 million? So far, I've discovered that one building of the 3 that was promised as part of the ballpark initiative on North Elm has been finished. I've discovered a 0.58-mile stretch of the Greenway, which runs from Southside Rec Center to Grimes Avenue, really. There's a community garden and a botanical space, but there are no trees, shade, benches, doggy bags, or anything else to indicate it's a greenway. Maybe that's coming. The bridge that is touted on the very nice city website was built in 2018. And now instead of finishing that, they want to entertain the idea to shut down a major portion of our greenway that does exist. The only thing I've found unsafe there is that you get banged in the head with sweet gum balls this time of year. I doubt there have been any studies regarding the traffic on the Greenway. Let's count people the way we count cars. What about the children who walk on the Greenway to get to Kirkman Park Elementary School? It's a safe passage for them. They've already shut it down at those gates at night, so I'm not sure what else they want to try to do. As everyone has stated here, others have stated already, it is a floodplain it can't be built on. There is a stream. There are heron. There are lots of nature there that we would like to enjoy as residents. Honestly, I feel like we've sold out our town to this university, and I want our town and money back. Our city, his university. Thank you.
Brenda and Chester Hayworth. Are Brenda and Chester Hayworth still here? Okay. Louis Thibodeau. After Mr. Thibodeau, we'll have Paul Petter, Susie Webb, and then Charles Miracle.
Good afternoon. My name is Louis Thibodeau. I reside at 1242 Kensington Drive, and I thank you for being able to speak on this tonight. There's been so much said that I will not reverb that because there's been some good things said, and one of them is you need to go out on this greenway and see what it's like and what the proposal is. I also want to say in my thoughts, the greenway should remain a greenway, not beside a roadway heavily traveled. And my last words are, in your vote on this item, vote on the merit of what's before you so that there is not an appearance of anything other than those facts. Thank you.
Paul Petter. Is Paul still here? Next, we'll have Susie Webb. Next, we'll have Charles Miracle. After Charles Miracle, we'll have John Guy and Grady Sawyer.
Charles Miracle, 4106 Queens Grant Road. It's been a lot said. I'm just going to point out a few other things. Once you enter into this section of the Greenway, you are surrounded by fences. On the outside of the fences, it's High Point University property, by and large. There may be some parcels that are owned by individuals or by the city, but you know, if an individual jumps over this fence to get to this little area, they're coming out of High Point University already. They're not coming out of the city. I think if High Point University wants to grow their area for housing or whatever for their students, they should dismantle the baseball field. It's vastly underutilized and build on that. I go by this place weekly, daily sometimes, 600 miles a month on a bicycle, and this is the way I ride. Baseball games are largely unattended. You might see 25 or 30 people in that stadium. I was on a committee for the High Point 2045 Comprehensive Plan. We had several committee meetings, and I tell you, the Greenway was a positive every time we met. Someone commented on how positive the Greenway was to this community, not to them individually, but to the community. Earlier tonight, the meeting started out pretty much with multiple High Point businesses saying they were in favor of this. I'm also a runner besides a bicyclist, and I need a new pair of shoes. I don't have them yet. I visited 2 High Point footwear stores this weekend. I broached this subject within the store ownership. They cannot come here and oppose this for fear of retribution from High Point University, even though they oppose it, because they're going to lose business. So I would say to you, your businesses have a jaded opinion of what's going on for the community. Everything you see on the internet is not real, but I did look on the internet and noticed that a portion of this property is owned by the city of High Point. It's valued at $500,000. Are you going to be selling this property to them? You know, what are they going to do with it? We've already talked about it's in a flood plan. They can't build on it. But, you know, I would say that there's tons of property in this country that are in floodplains that are being built on. You know, our wetlands are being destroyed. You know, High Point University says they are for God, family, and country. They're for themselves. Personally, Personally, I think they're in the process of seizing the property, not having it ceded over to them or, being purchased or whatever. And I've heard a lot about how beautiful they're going to make this walkway or greenway around the university. Are they going to put a creek through there when they do this? And several people have asked you to go walk this area. I would say wait about 4 to 6 weeks when the wildflowers are starting to bloom, because if you go out there right now, you're going to see a greenway, but you're not going to see the true beauty of it whenever the flowers start blooming. If you want to increase the safety, maybe. 4 or 5 years this Greenway Inn has been open to me. I've never seen a High Point University security person there unless they were closing the gate, which frequently they closed it early. And I have addressed that with Dr. Cobain on multiple times and with the mayor, previous mayor. There are charts that you can find to see when sunset is. There is your cell phone, which is pretty accurate, tell you when sunset is. They continually close at 15, 20 minutes before sunset, which is the natural closing of the Greenway.
Mr. Miracle, thank you. The timer went off. We couldn't hear it because they were clapping.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Y'all have a great night. Thank you for the opportunity.
Next, we'll have John Guy and then Grady Sawyer. Okay. Is Grady Sawyer still here?
My name is Grady Sawyer, and I live at 1212 Lancaster Place. Dear council members, I am talking to you today as a citizen of High Point, a member of a family who regularly uses the Greenway for bike riding. We are a family of 5 who enjoy frequent bike rides away from traffic. The Parks and Recreation website defines greenways as linear parks of land left in a natural state that provides an enjoyable course for walking, jogging, biking, and skating. I personally have ridden that section of the greenway over 200 times within the past 2 years. Last year I rode over 6,000 miles, mostly using that greenway as part of the ride. It's less than a 10-minute bike ride from my house to Armstrong Park to get onto the greenway. High Point University's request to close a portion of the greenway would prevent the city's own definition from remaining true. It is not safe for my family to ride on city sidewalks around the university, and this closure seems to be solely for their convenience. The land cannot be used for other purposes, so it would be closed for no apparent reason. High Point University has already restricted public access with their fences, so closing the greenway doesn't benefit them in any meaningful way. It would be a disservice to the general public to close a greenway that their tax dollars paid for. Please consider your citizens when making a decision regarding the greenway closure. It will be detrimental to the general public, especially when weighed against the interests of students who are not permanent residents of our community. The Greenway is a valuable resource for our community, providing safe and enjoyable routes for families like mine to exercise and enjoy nature. Closing any portion of it would limit our ability to use this important public amenity. Please prioritize the needs of High Point's residents and maintain the integrity of our Greenway system. We urge you to reject any proposal to close this public space. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, we'll have Rick Williams, then Susan Hayworth. Is Rick Williams still here? Susan Hayworth. Ken Leverage. Ken, if you'll come on up. And then after Ken, we'll have Ben Nyhouse and Victor Jones.
Hi, my name is Kent Leverage. I live at 124 Heritage Hill in Jamestown. I am not a citizen of High Point, but I frequently access the Greenway from the Piedmont Environmental Center. I believe the Greenway is a draw to the community, and I think you should hear from those users, and I appreciate you taking time to listen to me. One reason I ride the Greenway is it provides isolation from the city streets and traffic. These proposed changes completely destroy that. Call it what you want, it's just going to become a fancy sidewalk, which is immediately adjacent to 3 very busy streets and will no longer be a greenway. One thing that concerns me is this is being pitched as an expansion or an upgrade. That is simply not true. This is something that only benefits the university. Anyone Anyone who actually uses the Greenway does not want to see these changes made. I ask that you please keep the Greenway as it is. Thank you.
Is Ben Nyhouse still here? Ben, then Victor Jones, then Susan Weinbaum.
Mayor Jefferson, other council members, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Benjamin Niehaus, 813 Ferris. I'm a current senior at High Point University. I'm one of 6,000 undergraduate students considering where to take up our after grad work. I had a tough time coming up for what to talk about. I was going to talk about growth. I'm an avid runner. I used the Greenway, training for half marathons, crossing Wendover Avenue and East Fork Road, the whole Greenway. But I also served as the student body president at High Point University. I was voted by my peers to serve them in an unpaid position. So I went to them and asked their opinion. I'd just like to tell one story from one female friend of mine who lives on Alumni Avenue. I don't know if you've been on that part of the Greenway. If you live on Alumni Avenue, you have to walk down Panther Drive, cross the bridge over the Greenway, down Alumni Avenue to get to your home. My friend, she's a special education major. She asked me not to share her name. She's from Maryland, looking to continue teaching in the High Point or the North Carolina area. She's 5'2". She was walking home from class when someone on the Greenway, I've personally never felt unsafe on High Point's campus, but I can understand a 5'2" female, hearing inappropriate comments yelled at her from the Greenway by someone on the Greenway. She tried to ignore it. She walked back to her house. That person continued following her and watched her as she walked into her home. I hope to be a father one day. If my daughter had to go through that, I would not want that to happen to her. So, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Good to see you all. My name is Victor Jones. I live at 2512 Birch Point, High Point, North Carolina. And first of all, I'll say thank you. I know how tough this job is because I sat up there with y'all for 6 years. I would say the toughest case that I ever dealt with personally, and even argued with Cyril one time about it, was the Publix case. It was tough. It was so stressful. Me personally, when I first heard about the development, I thought this is a great idea. This is going to be really cool. Jobs, economic development. My fiance and I live right around the corner. I figured we could pop in and grab groceries, and I thought it was great. I told the developers, I'm going to send this out to my constituents and see what they have to say, thinking it would be 50-50, right? It was 90-10. I mean, it was tough. Messages all day, 24/7 about this, and I recanted. I remember humbling myself and saying, you know what, I don't get to vote on what Victor Jones wants. I have to represent the people that put me in this position. And even if I disagree, I feel like a good representative is a reflection of the community. And you can read the room. You can read the community. I don't think the majority of people are for this. And I appreciate Barry and Michael, all the HPU people here. I spent an hour today at Barry's office, talked to him about it. In 6 years, I don't think I ever voted no on something that had to do for the benefit of HPU because it was a win-win. I felt it was good for the city, good for High Point. Everybody wins. I just see this as a win-loss. I do think we are losing a valuable asset by not having access to that. And I know there's some challenges to it. I know HPU hasn't presented their drawings and renderings and all the other stuff. But I'm just going to ask you, when the time comes and you have to choose between the rich and the powerful that are influential, that may have donated to your campaigns or whatever, or choosing us, just choose us.
Next, we'll hear from Susan Weinbaum, Nicole Lindell, and Xander Petter. Is Susan Weinbaum still here? Nicole and I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly, Nicole Lindahl or Lindell? Nicole? Yeah. If you come forward, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nicole Lindahl, and my address is 1804 Marion Street in Greensboro. I am the projects coordinator with Bicycling in Greensboro, and we do represent the greater Greensboro area, including High Point. I'm also a representative from Triad Friends of Greenways, a coalition that's made up of 12 different member organizations. And I just wanted to come to read to you tonight an email I got from Andrew Edmonds, who is a High Point Department of Transportation planner. I just found out about the proposal to reroute the Greenway on Friday. So the first thing I did was email Andrew to find out more information about it. I mean, this is the expert you guys have hired to plan your infrastructure for Bike Ped. And I said, hope you're well. I just caught wind that High Point University is requesting to reroute the tail end of the High Point Greenway along Lexington and Centennial. Do you have any further information you can send me? When is this going before council? Good afternoon, Nicole. Similar to you, I've only caught wind of this proposal from others. I'm unsure of their intent to move forward with this request because I haven't seen any official submittal of this proposal. He did not know anything, he had nothing to send me. This is the guy that plans your High Point Greenway plan. This is the Bike Ped expert that you guys have, and they're drafting a proposal for Greenway without involving the guy that was hired to be the expert for High Point for Bike Ped. I think there's a problem there, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
If you come forward, state your name and address for the record. After that, we'll have Gary Roy, Anissa Roy.
Hello, my name is Xander Peden, and I've been a resident and student at High Point for the last 5 years. Thank you for having me. I was going to say a lot of things, but I've heard a lot from everybody here, and it's really opened my mind. I originally really wanted to reroute the Greenway, and I still believe that rerouting the Greenway could be a positive. I do understand that High Point University, from what my knowledge of them is one of the most beautiful campuses in the country. And I believe that if they are going to reroute it, and as they do say, they are going to improve it or make it equal, if there's any campus in this country that would be able to improve something like that or make it beautiful, High Point University would be able to do that. I'm an entrepreneur here in High Point. I'm in residential real estate. I've been trying to improve buildings around here and just build up High Point's infrastructure. I've seen what High Point University has been able to do, and I think that by growing High Point, it increases everyone in the community's wealth as well as everyone within High Point. I really appreciate your time, and I know that you've heard a lot of things from a lot of different people. Thank you all.
Thank you. Gary Roy.
Yes, sir. Gary Roy, represent my wife, Anissa, so since I'm doing 2 people, do I get 6 minutes? I still got to stick with 3. I'll be shorter than 3, okay? So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody in here for everything they've said. I can see both sides of this conversation, and I can see the university side of the conversation, but Mr. Mayor, what I hear in here is a lot of us versus them. This is bigger than a Greenway situation. This is a university versus the community situation. And I think that we need to find ourselves in a way to make both of these kind of come together, okay? I do a lot of traveling. I get a chance to introduce myself to a lot of folks. And when I tell them I'm from High Point, you know what they say? They don't say that's the furniture market. They say that's where that incredible university is. They talk about the university. They don't talk about the furniture business. And it's not to say that one is more relevant than the other, but that's the brand this city has. We shouldn't shoot the brand. We should find a way to work with the brand and figure out what would be common to make everything work for everybody. This is a very small piece of property. I run it. My wife and I walk it. We take our kids on it. you know, I know this stretch very well. I went to school there in '87. I've seen this area grow up over the last 15 years, and I'm very proud of what they've become. This is not a big give, and as we look at gives and gets on things the university wants to do over the next 10 or 15 years, this is an easy one to find a common way. Nito and the university are going to find the safest, cleanest, make it as less urban as possible. I've heard that stated out here. I can assure you won't be a sidewalk. I've been inside the walls of the university. I've seen what it looks like, okay? It's going to be a replication of that. Safety will be at its heart, and everybody will find a way to enjoy this thing. So I'm in support of the change, and I want to let you know that I just hope everybody can kind of find a way to work together here, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for what you do, okay?
Absolutely, thank you. That's it for who's signed up, but as customary, we ask if there's anyone who's interested in speaking at public comment. If so, we've hit the 2-hour mark, so what we're actually going to do is take a 15-minute intermission, and we'll come back at 7:45. We'll come back at 7:45 to hear any public comments. We'll come back at 7:45 to hear any public comments. If you want to hang around until then, feel free to hang around. Thank you so much. and welcome back to the regular meeting of the High Point City Council. We appreciate your patience. At this point, we'll continue with public comment period for those who have not signed up. What I'm going to ask you to do is that if you want to speak during this public comment period, go ahead and line up now. Whoever's in the line, that'll be our public comment period. The last person in line will be the last public commenter. So let's go ahead and see our line. And the clerk will reflect in our record whoever our last person is. That's our last public commenter. Justin, raise your hand. Justin's our last public commenter tonight. All right, thank you so much. Reverend Thomas.
Reverend Frank Thomas, pastor of Mount Zion Baptist Church, 753 Washington Street. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. 65 years ago, on February 11th, 26 high school students from William Penn High School walked to Woolworth and had what we now know is the first high school sit-in in the country. Every year on February 11th, we commemorate that event at the monument on Wren. And I stand before you tonight to remind everybody, you cleared the room of my big crowd, Mr. Mayor. But I want to remind everybody about our rich history here in High Point. And if you're willing and able and available, this next Tuesday, February the 11th at 3 p.m. In the 100 block of Wren Street, we will hold our annual commemoration. And if I'm 3 p.m., yes, sir. And if I'm correct, one of the last surviving members, Miss Mary Lou Blakeney, has always been there, and she plans to be there next Tuesday. Remember High Point's history. It's very important, and few people know this part of High Point's history. High school students, 10 days after the Greensboro 4, were the High Point 26.
Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and let us know the matter you're speaking on.
My name is Robert Gunn, Pete Roberts. Most everybody that knows me as Pete. Even people that in my family don't really know my legal name. I'm here to speak on the Greenway rerouting. I'm against it. After our famous and very wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King, I have two dreams. The first dream is that this Greenway is kept open as it is. The second dream is that maybe within 100 or 200 years, we can all feel safe enough that we don't have to have fences. Thank you.
Please let us know your name and address for the record, and then the matter you're speaking on.
Thank you. My name is Lindsay Scott, 4250 Pelican Street, and I'm speaking on the Greenway matter. I'm a proud HPU alumna, and I'm incredibly involved with the university to this day, and have lived in High Point for over 10 years now. I'm also a founding member of High Point Athletic Club, and I'm in strong opposition to the changes to the Greenway. Our running community uses this Greenway on a daily basis, and it's an incredible resource to runners, cyclists, walkers, families alike. It is a safe space that celebrates the good of this city that I love so much, and why HPU alumni like me want to stay in this city after we graduate. Please do not take away one of the most beautiful and safe benefits for High Point residents. I wholeheartedly believe that the city and the university can grow together. But by taking away one of the most amazing parts of this city, you are helping to damage the relationship between how residents see the students. I work with these students day in and day out throughout my professional career now, and I know the good that they are, and I know the good they can do in this community. But by taking away those opportunities from those students to build relationships within the city, unfortunately, I think that's a barrier that we'll never be able to overcome. Thank you for your time.
Please come forward, let us know your name and address for the record, and then the matter you're speaking on.
Brandon Hudgens, 430 Amberley Drive. I am, first off, a runner. Second off, a small business owner in High Point. Lindsay, who just spoke, is one of my athletes and has been a founding athlete in our club since we started in 2018. The High Point Greenway has meant more to the people of this city, and I think everybody in this room here tonight certainly understands that. When we look to our neighbors over in Winston and our neighbors over in Greensboro, I think there's a lot to learn from what they've done and what a city can really look like, what green spaces can look like. And this small oasis that we have right at the heart of our city provides one of the only opportunities for us to have shade, for us to exercise outside, for us to see each other, for us to smile at each other, for us to say good morning, for us to say hi. And I kind of got sick and tired tonight of hearing people on the other side of that fence talk about safety. I've spent more miles and more time on that greenway than probably most people in this city. I trained on it as a professional athlete for 3 years in this city and not once had an issue. But what I will say is you saw just a small part of what this community is capable of when we come together over something. So we will stand in opposition to HPU, and I will do everything in my power and our power to make sure that this doesn't happen. So that's what I have here to say. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin Bost. I live at 3102 Quail Run Drive in High Point. I am a multi-business owner. I own and or operate 3 businesses here in High Point. I have a pool business, I have a renovation business, and a yoga studio in the Catalyst Social District downtown. I love this city. I love the direction that we've been heading the last few years. But what really I can't abide is that this park, this space, this piece of our community that was paid for by our blood, sweat, and taxes, I just truly don't think that we should be allowing ourselves to socialize the cost of this stuff and then privatize the profit or the benefit that it brings to this community. I value what everybody has said here tonight. I respect it, and I love every one of you, no matter whether you're in opposition or not. I obviously am in opposition to the proposed rerouting. I think that we should let the community be the community and have the things that we have, fought for and worked for, and made an effort to enjoy. That's really it. I think the community needs to continue having their say. And again, thanks all of the esteemed council for this public forum. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
At this time, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period.
Sorry, I was late getting in line.
What's your name and address for the record?
I'm Tony Lepore, 327 Woodrow Avenue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I appreciate it very much. Thanks, everybody, for hanging around. This is probably one of the most important conversations that I've been a part of with the city. I've been here for a long time. Woodrow Avenue, where my house is right around the corner from where the Greenway starts. And High Point University is a big part of this community, too. And being that they are a premier life skills university, some things came to mind as I was listening to what everybody was saying. One of those skills, in my opinion, is inclusion. And I think that this is a pretty big opportunity for HPU to make the community feel more included by allowing us to remain in their space. It's a beautiful greenway. It's the prettiest part of the greenway that there is. So, and there's also an opportunity for another skill, teamwork, for the staff at HPU and City Council to work together to address the safety issue. I think that's something that could be done by working together. Another skill that's important is honesty. Some of the stuff that I've read, we know you can't build anything on the floodplain. They're not going to build in that area. So the Greenway can remain alongside Boulding Branch without impeding any of the future development, in my opinion. I've been in the construction business and development business for a lot of years. Travel through campus for students is not impeded. They can all go through the existing corridors that are already established from the north end of campus to the south end of campus. And the last skill I wanted to touch on was the skill of community. Can we build more community with HPU through this conversation? The walls around the campus are a difficult situation for a lot of the people in the community about how they feel about how the fact that we don't feel like a part of the campus, we don't feel like a part of the HPU community. So hopefully this is an opportunity for us all to get to know each other and talk a little bit more, and I stand opposed to relocating the Greenway as part of that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to make sure to say a couple of things before we transition from public comment period. One, just a point of information, there were questions about the urban greenway that we're working on that goes through our downtown that would connect from Armstrong Park going up Cubane Avenue, past the library, past the stadium into South Side. We're getting an update from our staff at our Prosperity, Livability, and Safety Committee next month. And so that would be on the first Thursday following our first council meeting at 9 a.m. In case you're curious about that urban greenway, you'll be able to learn more about that there. I heard two things that were very poignant tonight. Just want to note that I hope as a council we all will each get the chance to go on down there. I know some folks have already gone down there. Councilman Andrew even rode his bike all the way from North High Point down there. That's how committed you are. That's public service, Councilman Andrew. But hopefully all of us on the dais will get a chance to go down there and check it out. I think that would be a great opportunity. And then also, I do want to credit Barry. I appreciate you guys actually staying here the entire time to hear everyone. There's something to be said about that. And I know you all have had some community meetings to speak with members of the community. There's a lot of folks who are here tonight who I'm sure would love to give input as you all are having some conversations. And so hopefully we'll be able to see that materialize as well. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you. This is not something that we take lightly. Folks, participating in government is what makes a democracy run. It is when people give up and assume that the decisions are inevitable that our government is not able to be a strong one. So thank you all for showing up. Know that we've got a path to go down still. We're in the information gathering stage, as the point I think was said earlier. I can't remember the young lady's name. I've got it written down. But our staff don't know anything about it because ultimately we've been having conversations, but there's more we have to learn. There's more we have to figure out. There's more conversations our attorney's office is having, trying to figure this out too. And so we're a whiles away. Please keep in touch with us about the issue. I know there's some folks who are probably going to leave as soon as we're done with this because we've got to go talk about some other city business, but just wanted to make sure you all were aware of that. Thank you so much. At this point, I'll go ahead and close our public comment period and offer my appreciation again to everyone who participated. Our next item for discussion will actually be approval of our consent agenda. Those of us who have our agenda are able to note what those items are. Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Holmes, seconded by Councilman Andrew. Any discussion on the motion to approve our consent agenda? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and our consent agenda has been passed. Next, we'll have item 2025-043, National Register nomination for the Elihu Ann and Abigail Mendenhall House. We're going to hear from David Fensler, our senior planner, to provide a brief report about this. We are going to allow folks to speak. Do want to note that this is not a public hearing, though. However, this is public comment. If you want to speak for public comment specifically on this issue, we're making space for that. Our sign-up sheet had everyone for this issue, unfortunately, David. It was everyone about the Greenway, unfortunately.
Yep,
so
that's all right.
If there's folks here for the Mendenhall House and want to speak on that, you can still do that. We'll take your name and address for the record. With that, I'll pass it to Mr. Fensel.
Dave Fensel, Planning and Development Department, and appreciate the opportunity to present this National Register nomination to the council tonight. We'll do this really quick. So we do have, we've received a report from the State Historic Preservation Office for the Elihu Ann and Abigail Mendenhall House located on Skeet Club Road. This was quite controversial site several years ago. but this has been submitted and is being considered for placement on the National Register. Property is already a Guilford County landmark and has been for, I believe, about 30 years. Here's just an aerial view of the site. I know most of you are familiar with this. Front elevation that faces Skeet Club, a side elevation, the rear, and the other side elevation. Some interior photos of this important site and a house that's located in High Point. And I'll go to this one. We'll just go back. But we are asking you to provide a public comment period. This does fulfill the city's obligation under our agreement with the State Historic Preservation Office as a certified local government. This has been reviewed by our Historic Preservation Commission, who unanimously recommended it 6-0. And staff is recommending that the City Council recommend approval of this National Register nomination. It is going to be considered by the state's Advisory Council on Historic Preservation in about a week and a half on the 13th. And there is this is an extremely important site to High Point's history, its role in the abolition movement, as well as the education of freed blacks back in the 19th century. And there's a great history if anybody's interested within the National Register nomination report. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Are there any questions from council for staff regarding this item?
I got one. This is Councilman Moore. The timing of this, you said this will be a week and a half, and it'll go to somebody in Raleigh?
Yes, so this has been forwarded to the city. We're given 60 days to provide comment. And then on the 13th, the state's Advisory Council of Historic Preservation will consider this National Register nomination in a public meeting. And if approved, then it's forwarded to our National Park Service in Washington for final listing.
I was just trying to think of the sequence
Sure.
about what I mean, if when we not want to have public comment prior to it going to Raleigh in a week and a half.
And this is that time. So this has been noticed in the newspaper
Okay,
for both our Historic Preservation Commission meeting as well as this meeting tonight.
So folks have, as you were saying, until February 13th to provide some public comment if you don't want to offer it tonight.
Yes, and they will accept comment up until the day of the meeting on the 13th.
So it's currently on Guilford County Historic Register.
It is a local landmark, which does provide a fair amount of protection. Guilford County Historic Preservation Commission would review any changes to the site, the building, or the interior features even within the designated structure.
Is it, if it goes to the next level, do those restrictions get even more?
No. So the National Register designation is honorary only. It does come into play when there is federal money involved in usually road construction projects that you have to take a National Register property into consideration. As the property is already a local landmark, it also would have to be considered, special, the significance of it, even without the National Register nomination. It does, it's basically honorary, but it does open, and the site already has eligibility for grant funds, tax credits that are currently available, but this also adds to that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council for staff on this item? Is there anyone here who would like to speak and offer public comment about the Mendenhall House? If not, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that this body provide a recommendation to the North Carolina National Register Advisory Committee for the Elihu and Abigail Mendenhall House located at 1106 Skeet Club Road to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places as the nomination meets the required criteria. Is there a second? Second, recognized by Councilmember Holmes. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Thank you so much. Next item is 2025-046, consideration of a reappointment to Human Relations Commission. We are requested to confirm the reappointment of Stacey Jones to the Human Relations Commission, term effective immediately and expiring November 1st, 2026. Can I just get clarification? She's being reappointed not to a new term. She's finishing someone's term, I guess. Do we know that? I guess so. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions about this item?
Yes. This shouldn't be an expired term. This should be a.
I don't know. I gotta look at the other. Give me just a
Okay.
Okay.
Because I think she served a full term.
So it's not an expired term. We were late in getting her reappointed. That's the reason why it's for November, the November 2026 date. First one, 2026.
Okay. All good.
Yep.
Is that a motion from?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion has been made by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion on the motion to approve this reappointment? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Item 2025-047 is consideration of an appointment to the Human Relations Commission. The council is requested to confirm the appointment of Tiffany Sutherland to the Human Relations Commission, term effective immediately and expiring on the same date, November 1st, 2026. Are there any questions from this group about that appointment?
I will comment that Ms. Sutherland is committed already to the Human Relations Commission because she's been here the whole time. Good choice by me. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, it was Ray who recommended her.
Is that a motion then, Councilmember?
Yes, that's a motion.
Okay. Is there a second to Councilmember Harmon's? Councilmember Johnson has seconded the motion. Any discussion on the motion to approve the appointment of Ms. Sutherland to the HR Commission? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Next is item 2025-053, consideration of an appointment to the Citizens Advisory Council. Council is requested to confirm the appointment of Carl Vierling to the CAC to fill an unexpired term. Term will be effective immediately and expire on May 31st, 2026. Any questions about this? Now, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second's been made by Councilmember Peters. Any discussion on the motion to approve Carl Vierling's appointment to the CAC? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. We have come to the end of our meeting here. Any announcements from the dais? Any comments, anything?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor, I'm very proud of our community tonight. I think this is what we all hoped for when we campaigned, that we would see the level of engagement from our community that we saw tonight on an issue. I love the way that our community was impassioned, but also reasoned, and the open mind that I think will be provided for us to find solutions as we go forward. So I'm very proud of High Point tonight.
Absolutely, Councilmember Holmes. Thank you so much. Any other comments or announcements from the dais? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made by Councilmember Moore, seconded by Councilmember Peters. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it, we are adjourned.